Hello and welcome to another video about Unreal Engine 5. In this video, we'll continue making the tank. We'll add the shooting function and the recoil. I made some changes to the track animation. Previously, I based the parameter value on the vehicle speed, but I changed it to the rotation angular velocity of the one of the wheels, which gives better results. You just get the wheels and then get a copy, then get one of the wheels, any wheel. I chose 4, and then connect the parameter value. This will give us better animation, better than the depends on the vehicle speed. Now, uh, first we need to get the action event fire. Before that, we need to make a new projectile. Let me go to the ground. Let me delete this one and make a new one. Now let's start by making a new blueprint. Call it tank shell. Now first we need a sphere, collision sphere. Leave it or change it to 16, and the collision change it to custom or block all. But if you have more than one projectile, you need to add a new channel for the object type in the project settings to make the object type projectile, and make all the projectiles ignore the projectile channel to prevent collision between projectiles. But this will be for another video. Also need static mesh or add a sphere, because we do not have static mesh for the shell. And change the material to, this is a simple material I made before, just a color multiplied by whatever value you want. If you make it more, it will be more, give more emissive color, and connect it to the emissive color. It will give us the look of a tank shell when it is fired. Now the projectile movement. The projectile movement, let's make the speed, let's make it 25,000, and the max speed is 20,000. Make it get slower the farther it goes. I think this is enough here. Simulate. Now here let's use our projectile stop. If you want to make the projectile simulate physics, you also don't forget to make this to have no collision. The static mesh should have no collision. If you want to make the projectile simulate physics, first you need either you make the projectile slower, or you enable the CCD, continuous collision detection. This will take more processing uh, power from the PC or from the computer, but it will be more accurate with the collision. For now I will use the projectile stop, but sometimes you need to make the projectile simulate physics, especially if you want to hit vehicles with it, or some other objects that simulate physics. Because if the projectile does not simulate physics and hits an object that simulates physics, it will give some weird behavior. Now we only need some effects, explosion effects, projectile, sorry, uh, system, spawn system at location. Impact location, and from the impact normal we will get rotation from Z, because the primary axis for the Niagara, for some Niagara, or for the Niagara effects that I use, is the Z axis. Let's use the homing missile. These effects I made before. I have videos on how to make Niagara effects, explosion effects. They are available on my channel. You can view them. Also, we need sound at location. Sound. I have sounds. I have some free sounds I found on the internet, and I will add a link on the description for them. Explosion. Let's use this. These settings, the attenuation settings. Let's. I use this. I made this one. Let me show you. This the attenuation settings. Let's make one. Let me add new. Where is the sounds attenuation? Let me call it ATT tank shell. These settings will decrease the volume of the sound over long distance. If the sound is spawned far away, the pawn, or you will hear the sound with the decreased volume, depend on the distance. If it is very far away, you will not hear any sounds. Let me the inner radius. This is where the sound begins to attenuate, which begins to weaken. Let's make it 2500, and the fall of sound distance is the distance where you will not hear the sound when you are farther than this distance. So let's make it 15,000, which translates to 150 meters. The other settings we do not need right now, and this which is the uh, let's how do we call it? The way the sound attenuates. Linear, it decreases in a linear fashion. Inverse logarithmic, this uh, you can try them, but I will use inverse because I tried it and it gives the best result. Let me choose it, tank shell. Now we finished here. Let's go back to the tank. Spawn actor from class tank shell. The spawn transform, we need socket transform. Ignore any collision. Now let's go to the tank mesh and look for the gun socket. Let's just move it slightly away from the barrel. Now let's copy the name, we need the name exactly. And now after the actor, after the projectile, we need the emitter system attached. I will use. Let me use T72. This is included in the uh, vigilante content. Attached to component is the mesh, and the touch point name is the same socket as the projectile socket, and location and rotation we'll get from the transform, break transform. This keep world position, change it to keep world position. Now after we spawn these effects and the projectile, we need to make a timeline to control the first. Before the timeline, let's add the recoil for the body of the tank. How we add it is to use add torque in radians. This will add the torque to the tank mesh according to the uh, uh, direction, according to the direction of the turret. Where the turret is facing, it will give you a recoil effect. It will give a torque or apply a torque on the tank hull. Now we need socket transform also. This transform, let's take the turret. We need the turret name and transform direction. Transform direction. And the bone name, we need the hull name. Hull is the cog. Don't forget to connect the mesh. Now this tab, if you choose it, this will give acceleration change to the tank hull. It will not depend on the tank weight. So we'll need only some small values. You choose the y-axis, but if you do not select this, you need to use large values because it will depend on the weight of the tank. If the weight is high, uh, the force that you need or the torque you need will be very high. But here it will not take into consideration the weight of the vehicle. This will be constant. It will give constant torque, and the torque will be given as a change in the acceleration of the tank hull. Now let's just test this. Now let's follow. We forgot the shooting sound. And also we need to increase the torque. Let's make it minus 25. And let's add tank shooting sound. Sound at location. Location, let's get actor location. The sound, I also have some free sounds here, and also I will include in the description this one. Sorry, tank shot. Here we do not need any attenuation settings because we are near the tank. Or let's choose tank shell, the same. Now let's make a timeline to control the recoil of the gun. Add a timeline. Let's call it recoil. What timeline does is gives us a float value or sometimes a vector or color, anything you want, and this the float value will change over time and will give us some smooth animation and animation blueprint. Let's call it here recoil. Now let's add a key times 0 and the value is 0, and the other key is at the half of the time we set, and we'll give it value of 1, then add the third that will be at the end of the maximum time, and the 0 value. This will give us a recoil curve. Now put it to a variable, call it recoil alpha, and connect to the update to give us the increasing value and or the value in real time. Now let's make a boolean, call it can shoot, When this updating, it cannot shoot because it is now in the process of shooting. And when it's finished, uh, let's make a delay to make it like a reload time. Let's make it 5 seconds and get the shooting, can't shoot, make it true. Let's add this branch here. Can shoot, this will spawn the projectile. Now let's go to the animation blueprint. This code we made before for the turret movement. Now we need the recoil. Get the print recoil. Get recoil alpha and set it as a variable. Promote it to a variable. Here modify transform bone. Here what we need is the gun int. We need the translation to existing and the parent bone space. The rotation do not need it, and we do not need the scale. What we need is the x value. Let's test -25. Oh, sorry, the x. I used the y. This is the x. Oh, the gun and the mantlet, they move together, but I don't think anyone will notice. But better is to take this mesh to a 3D designing software like Blender and separate the gun from the mantlet. But I will not do it now. It's does not uh, affect anything, and no one will notice the the gun going backward like this. Now the alpha multiply by -20. Now we have a tank that shoots and have a recoil. Let's test it now. Now let's shoot. Sorry. Where is the can shoot? We need to set it to true to make us able to shoot. And also I will change the offset with spring arm Z offset 150 to make us able to look at the gun. Make it 200. So when it fires, we will see the recoil. let's drive. We forgot that after the tank shell explodes, we need to destroy actor. Now, I will add the engine sound. It won't take any time. It's very easy. Or first, let me comment on this. Tank shooting. Now the sound. First, let's add audio. Put it here near the engine. Sound. There is. I have tank tracks. Shot. Where is the engine sound? Let me add the engine sound and get back to you. Hello again. I added the sound, and I will, as I said, I will include the sound in the description. Now, what we need to is to change the intensity and volume of the sound in real time. Let's add continuous modulator. And let's add a parameter name called RPM. With this parameter, we will drive we will change the pitch and the volume of the sound in real time. Let's first the RPM, engine RPM. Let's find them here. The max RPM is 4500 and the at idle is 1200. I will decrease them to 800 the idle RPM, and also the curve. Let us make the time 5 seconds to get the maximum torque and the maximum RPM. So what we need is make the pitch change between the minimum and maximum RPM. The minimum RPM, leave it as 0, the maximum 5000, and the pitch make it 0.7 to 1.5. Now we can test it here. Increase. I think better. And here also maximum input 5000, minimum input between 1 and 1.5. If you want to increase the volume to 2, it is as you like. Now let's choose the engine idle and add it. Here's the audio here. Engine idle. This one. Yeah, let's see. Now the tick, get the audio. Let's call it engine sound. Engine sound. Set float parameter. Let's choose this one. Audio component is the target. Parameter name RPM, and the float, get engine rotation speed. Now let's test. Let's drive. This vehicle is flying. I like the sound of the gun. Now we'll also add track. Let's duplicate the sound. Let's call it tracks. We need the same, but we need to change the parameter name. Call it track. Let me find it here and just tracks. And let's add the continuous modulator. Here, let's use the speed of the vehicle. I will use the speed. Minimum is 0 when the vehicle is stopped. You will hear no sound, but when it's moving, let's make the maximum input is 70. Minimum pitch is between 0.7 and 1.5. Better. Volume, we do not need to change the volume, just the pitch. Let's close this. The tank here. The float name is speed, and here we need the vehicle speed in miles per hour. Where is mph? We also need to change the volume set volume multiplier. Also change it according to the vehicle speed. Map range clamped, because when you use the continuous modulator, it will not work very well, because I tried it and it didn't work well. This node work better. The in range, if the speed is 0, there will be no sound, and if it is 10 or more, the volume will be 1. Now let's test it. just some adjustment to the tracks. Let's add an attenuation settings. Let me add new one. Let me add the engine. It's just the same as the tank shell, but I decrease the radius, the inner radius and the maximum radius, fall off radius. And also we need to change the volume of the tracks. Where is it? Make it maximum 0.5 because they are very loud. Also the pitch from 1. Increase the sound volume. Let's make it 1. And the engine, make it also 1. And the volume 125. I don't want to get very loud. Now let's test this one. The sound of the tracks, I want it to be subtle, not very loud, and we achieved it by using the attenuation settings. Let's add the, we forgot to add the handbrake settings. Space bar, and we get the chaos wheel handbrake. If we press it, if you release, if you press it, it will be activated. If you release it, it will be released. I think we are finished. Let's just test it again. I think the sounds and the recoil is good. Pitch, maybe make it 1.5. Now let's test it for the last time. I want the sound to change immediately, so let's decrease the torque, the time of the torque curve. Let's make it 2 seconds. I want it to change more. I think this is better. Let me test it. This will be the last time, but sometimes I I want to make things perfect. Let's try. I think it's good now. Thank you for watching, and see you again with more tutorials. Thank you.